If you are living mainly on Social Security disability, or maybe you're starting to plan for when that happens, you may feel that the pantry prepping advice that you find out there is aimed at people with extra money or big budgets or a lot of spare time. This video is for you. Hello everybody and welcome to SuttonsDaze. If you're new here, my name is Lisa. We are all about pantry preparedness. When you're working with modest resources, right? Looking to build food security, real food security, without breaking the bank, it can be difficult. It can be challenging, but you know what? It can also be done. We're going to walk through how to build a dependable pantry, stretch your dollars, make smart choices with shelf-stable food, and create a home system that works even when funds are tight. I'm hoping that out of this you will get some step-by-step guidance, and you'll leave today's video with tangible actions that you can take right away. Let's get started. Okay, so let's look at, where you are. I'll put the links for this in the description box below where I got the information. But according to recent data, the average monthly benefit for retired workers is around $2,000 per month. That means annual benefit of about, $24,000, though it could be lower or higher depending on your lifetime earning and when you claimed, of course. But even with that benefit, many households find that Social Security only covers about 30% of their spending. Yep. So when you're living on fixed income, you don't have the luxury of large margins, If something goes wrong, a freezer failure, a major storm, a temporary disruption in supply, or unexpected medical expenses. Yeah. If you're also on disability income, for example, the Social Security Disability Insurance Program, you face the same exact realities. Limited income, perhaps higher expense burdens, and the need for resilience. So our focus is, what can you do? Not ideal big budgets, okay? We're gonna keep it right with stuff that you can do. I mean, my mother, her Social Security income was like $800 a month. So no, you can't live on that. Even back then you couldn't live on that, and she passed away in 2020. Yeah, don't push it back anymore. But, I mean, you definitely couldn't survive off of that. So if it were not for, my ability to offset some of those expenses, I don't know what we would have done, seriously. And it's not getting any better at all because COLA isn't keeping up. You know what I mean? So here's the first thing to get right. You don't need a year's worth of food all at once. That's not how it works. That's never how it worked. On a fixed income, that would just seriously stress your budget. There's no way to pull it off. We're going to build a system around 3 pillars. 1, budget and income aware planning, okay? We're going to know what the income is. We're going to know what the outcome is, and we're going to make some plans. Everyday use plus rotation. And number 3 is cushioning for disruptions, because I guarantee you one thing, there's going to be disruptions. So let's talk about the budget and income awareness planning, because that's an important factor. You cannot stick your head in the sand and hope it all comes out right, because it is not going to. You start by mapping your fixed income, okay? So Social Security disability and your monthly reoccurring costs. Okay, we know how to do that. Rent, mortgage, utilities, insurance, medications, transportation, groceries, even though that's a variable, it's kind of a fixed income, okay? So you may already know what your essentials are, but pulling it onto one page to look at gives you a whole new perspective. It helps you see what's left for building your buffer. It's important to be able to see that. A simple spreadsheet, a simple steno pad, a piece of paper, draw some lines, whatever, if you do that, you'll be able to see where you're at, where you stand today. And the best way to figure out what you need is to know what you've already got. Now, we're going to talk about some everyday use and rotation. Your pantry isn't separate from your life. That's not the way that it works. It is part of your life. It is a living, breathing thing right along with you. And that's what helps you stay living and breathing, you know? So the best pantry for a person on a fixed income is one that fits in your regular meals. Absolutely. It has to fit into your regular meals. That way you rotate through items. None of this is meant to be set up there and stared at. That's a waste of money, a waste of resources, and time, quite honestly. If you don't use them, you're going to waste them. So you want to rotate through them, don't waste through them, and gradually build a stock. It's easier than it sounds. I'm a what if kind of gal, so let's talk about some what ifs, you know, the cushioning for disruptions. What if your grocery store delivery is delayed? What if a storm hits and you can't leave your house, you know? That's why building even a small buffer matters. 1 week's groceries extra, 1 extra can of tuna, 1 extra bag of rice, over time, those stack up, even when you're using them because you're rotating through them. So just kind of as an example, and I understand this is not everybody, okay? If your income is $2,000 a month, and after essentials, you maybe have $200 a month extra. If you take that and allocate just $25 to $50 of that to pantry building each and every month, then that turns into $300 to $600 a year of added stock. That's a lot of food, my friends. It won't create a 6-month deep store immediately. That's not how it works. But it builds momentum and security incrementally. And that's honestly the way everyone does it. You're just doing it with a little tighter belt on it, you know? But that doesn't mean it can't be done. It can absolutely be done. Okay, how do we do it? You know, I love being able to tell you how you can do this, because you can. Now, we're going to do a step-by-step pantry build, which is going to be fun. Basic staples, okay? For like 0 to 3 months. Let's focus on that. 0 to 3 months, because after that, it's just replicating, seriously. So pick items you already eat regularly. That is imperative. For example, 2-pound bag of rice, pasta, a jar of sauce, you know, canned vegetables, canned chicken or tuna, shelf-stable milk or milk alternatives, a box of, you know, oatmeal or cream of wheat or, you know, whatever. I want to emphasize to pay attention to allergies. Like I said, you stock what you eat. So if you don't eat, you know, beans or legumes because you're allergic to them or you're allergic to something else, substitute canned chicken or tuna instead of the beans. It's super simple. Suppose $30 this month, $4 for rice, $3 for pasta. Canned chicken's about $3, right? A can of vegetable, 2 of them is about $2 to $3. The cereal is about $5. Shelf-stable milk, $4. Maybe a little sneaky snack because they're good. That's $4. That's $26. 26 bucks. And that builds you a nice little buffer, you know? Now, the next thing is, you know, you want to concentrate on variety and comfort. And you have to remember to do the math, okay? So if you eat dinner 30 times in a month, then you're going to want to do the calculations to figure out how much protein, how much vegetable, how much dairy, you know, do all that fun stuff. Figure out the same for lunch, figure out the same for breakfast, and then just every time that you can, as you're moving along, you take that $26 and you know, throw it at other things to stock up your pantry so that eventually you will build up an entire 30-day supply. Next, we're going to talk about building in some variety maybe and some comfort items, okay? Once you have the staples down, once you have the basics down, then we'll look at, okay, we're going to kick in a little variety, a little bit of comfort items because, well, they're good, you know? So if you add additional categories like soups, canned fruits, snack bars, that kind of stuff, maybe freeze-dried options, jars of sauce, smaller quantities of specialty items that you like. Don't forget your coffee, you know, even though I think that's essential. Yeah. Remember to, be sure that you're rotating any of your comfort items, because they typically don't last, terribly long, unless your comfort item is rice, and then you're golden. We're going to look at the emergency buffer and rotation system, because it's important that all of this get rotated through, that you're only buying what you use, that you're using what you buy and just backfilling, so that you always have some stuff, stocked up on the shelf. Now that your staples category, has some width, you've built up a little bit, begin building an emergency buffer shelf. That's awesome. 1 extra week's worth of groceries, extra for disruptions of whatever kind, okay? When you bring new items home from the grocery store, once you've started building up that buffer, you want to remember that everything that you bring in needs to go to the back. You use the oldest items first and the newest items last, so that you're always rotating through. First in, first out. It's super simple. Don't overcomplicate it, okay? Sharpie markers are your friend. Write the dates in big black marker, because it's easier to see. Okay, I've got some mini tips that might be helpful. Shop the sales and the coupons for pantry building items. Definitely take advantage of any senior citizen discounts. Ask about them, okay? Use the store brands. There's nothing wrong with the store brands. Most of the time it's the same stuff in a different label. Buy 1 extra only if your storage space allows. If you don't have someplace to put it, then don't get it, Until you get to the point where you are, building up enough that you have to create extra room for it, that's great. But to start off with, that's not where you're at. You don't bring home a 25-pound bag of rice if you legitimately have no way to put it up. If, airtight containers, that's all you need, okay? Just airtight containers. Keep it cool, dark, and dry. You can't put it in the garage. I don't care where you live. You can't put it in the shed. If you don't have a basement, that's fine too. Just make sure that it's cool, dark, and dry, as cool as you can get it wherever it's at. It has to be dark, and it has to stay dry, which means airtight containers. That's how you make it work. You want to keep items that you and your family will use. You want to make sure that those are the ones that you're bringing in. Don't buy something just because it's on sale. That is never the time to buy it. It's not a sale if you won't eat it, So don't do it. Trust me on this one. There's no justification that you can come up with that will prove me wrong in the fact that, if you don't eat it, you're not going to, just because it's sitting in your house. You've wasted money. And there'll be somebody out there saying, well, if you get hungry enough, you'd be surprised. You'd be surprised at what you just can't take in sometimes, This is where you need to stop and ask yourself, okay, what staples do I already have? What do I need? What can I add this week to my pantry? This is where your inventory comes in handy, because you can see as you're building it, you can see how the numbers change. You can see how frequently you go through certain things, and that will help you determine what you need to backfill, and what extra you might be able to get if you can find the right price for it. So, okay, you have your build plan. Woohoo, you can do it. I know you can do it. I've seen it done. Lots of people here with us in this community have done it. They leave the comments. If you want to have a great time, go through the comment section. These are the best comments on YouTube, I swear. Now let's talk about smart selection and storage, okay? When your income is tight, because that really is a factor. If you listen to a bunch of different people, they're going to tell you, you have to have 5-gallon buckets. You have to have Mylar bags and oxygen absorbers. You have to have blah, 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 blah. No, you don't. You need airtight containers, and you need to keep it dark, and you need to keep it at the coolest temperature that you can without it being frozen. There you go. So don't let somebody else tell you what you need. I mean, I'll tell you the optimal way, but at the end of the day, airtight, dark, as cool as you can get it. Smart food selection and storage. When funds are limited, and I get it, okay, every dollar and every shelf inch matters. And so here are some smart guidelines that I hope will help you out. Buy what you already eat. I've said this like a gazillion times. If you never use lentils or, don't buy them. Maybe get a little bag to try them out, but don't buy, 10 pounds of it if you've never used them. I swear you won't know that they're mixed in with your ground beef. So they will extend, taco meat or sloppy joes or meatloaf, any of that. They'll extend that beef and they'll add more protein. It's really fantastic. But don't take my word on it. Get a small bag, okay, and try it. Stock up on it if it works for you. Prioritize long shelf life. That's super important. Your staples should have as long a shelf life as you can get. Rice, pasta, canned vegetables, canned meats, fish, shelf-stable dairy or milk alternatives, cereals, quick breakfast, that kind of thing. Prioritize those. You want to make sure you include your comfort items. Even on a budget, one small morale-boosting item will make all the difference, okay? So that could be popcorn or tea or a snack that you enjoy or coffee. Yeah, okay. Because it encourages you to stay engaged in the system. Because if you get that down, you're not going to be engaged in the system anymore, and that's not good for anybody. Storage matters. Always, storage matters. Dry goods like rice, pasta, they should go into airtight containers. I've said this, it keeps pests and moisture out. That's big. Canned goods should be stored in a cool, dry place, not too hot, not on the floor. Never on the floor, okay? Always make sure to rotate your stock. Check your space and condition periodically. You can't just put it in there and walk away. You need to keep an eye on it because that'll let you know if something has gone south, Every 3 to 6 months, I say 3, but every 3 to 6 months, go through there and see what you've got. Inventory it, okay? And then create meal plans off of it. And, check for any cans that might be bulging or anything that, might have been broken into by pests. It's doable. Always use what you store. That's key for any pantry that is successful anywhere. You need to use what you store. Part of preparation is integration. Part of preparation is integration. Use the items you're building into your weekly meals so you're familiar with them and they're not being wasted. It's that simple, okay? Now we're going to talk about maintaining and growing because that's the key, okay? Once you get it built up, which won't take as long as you think, once you get it built up, then it's a matter of maintaining it. You're not done. This is a lifestyle, my friend, okay? And we want you to be successful at it, and you can do it. So maintaining and growing your pantry is kind of like maintaining and growing a garden. I have a black thumb. Okay, well, you'll do just fine in the pantry, trust me. Do a monthly check-in. Once a month, review what you bought. Go over your receipts. Check it out. What you've used and what you still need from your original master list, okay? Adjust next month's plan accordingly. Let's say you got a really great deal on, I don't know, rice. Then you don't have to buy rice for another, 4 or 5 months. You can put that money towards something else now. Incremental growth. Remember that it's always incremental growth. Nobody does this overnight. If you can add one extra item every grocery trip, one extra item, one can of corn, one bag of rice, one, whatever, over a year, that is significant. That is a lot. It adds up pretty quick. You always want to revisit your budget because things change, life change. If your income changes, your COLA adjustment for what it's worth, disability income changes, extra expense pops up because they do, then you want to update your plan. Make sure that that plan is updated so that you're not working off incorrect information. Prepare for winter and storms and disruptions because they're coming. No matter what, they're always going to show up. They always do, okay? So, any storms, any power outages, anything like that, just be aware of them and sit down and figure out what is most likely to occur where I'm at. Because I know here in Michigan, it's going to be snow. It's going to be power outages. Those are the two big ones right off the top of my head. Okay, so what do I need to put into place to make sure that I'm covered when these happen? That's the focus. Always, share your plan with your family member or a trusted friend, okay? or you can find friends to swap items with. You have people to find your people. Or sometimes you can even, pool your resources with all these people. That's a great way to be able to get better prices when you can find it in bulk. You don't have to go it alone. You don't have to. Would I trust absolutely anybody from the minute I met them? No. Okay, but this is something that you just learn to talk to people about. Now, I want you to remember to stay motivated, because it can be pretty easy to get discouraged sometimes. But you know what? We've been around this long. We're resourceful as all heck. We're obstinate and we're stubborn. And, we've just got too much going on to give up. So stay motivated. Hang out. We will make this work. Absolutely. Remember to celebrate every single can, every single bag of rice, every single shelf that you start filling up. Every week you didn't have to scramble because you already had something stored. That's a celebration. That's definitely a cause for celebration. If you can only celebrate by leaving a comment for me and saying, Lisa, I did it. Yes, okay, I'm here. I love it. I love it. I love seeing you succeed because it makes me really happy. Okay, hopefully this checklist kind of helped you out a little bit, gave you some direction. Another way to sit down and navigate and figure out, okay, you can do this. You can absolutely do this. We have tons of people in this community that have done it and can testify to the fact that they've done it. So I'm going to be asking all of you, which one item are you adding this week? Be sure to leave it in the comments section down below. If you like this video, hit the like button. Maybe if you're new, hit subscribe. Hang out with us. We're kind of fun sometimes. And until next time, everybody, be safe. Keep stacking it to the rafters.